I'm Shua, and you are listening to Light Up with Shua, a weekly podcast to open our hearts and minds on a journey with me. Hi Najia.
Assalamualaikum, Auntie. Hello,
Walaikum
how are you?
assalam. Hello, greetings. How are you doing?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Good to finally talk to you.
I know, it's been a while. I know you talked to my mom the other week.
I know, and I've been meaning to talk to you. So, well, I always wanted to talk to people who are young and are unmarried and have no kids and want to see how your perspectives are on conscious living. So, let me know who you are and what do you do?
My name is Najia Malik, and I am currently working in the field of clinical research. I have my master's in biotechnology, focusing on drug development. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I live in Jersey. I'm fortunate to be living with my parents, so I don't have to spend money on rent and extra expenses.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's nice.
So do you have your freedom with living with the parents? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know?
I actually do, alhamdulillah.
Okay,
I do.
Good. Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. So what do you mean by, can you tell me where did you get your degree from, in New York or New Jersey?
So I did my bachelor's in New York in Wagner College in neuroscience, and then for my master's I went to Columbia University for biotechnology.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, neuroscience. Bachelor's.
Yeah, my undergrad was neuroscience, my master's was biotechnology.
Hey, very nice, very nice. So you wanted to go into these fields, or were you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I always wanted to do something in medicine, whether it was research or medical school. But alhamdulillah, my parents never forced me to go into a particular field or anything. It was based solely on my passion and what I wanted to do. So I'm fortunate that my parents did not say, doctor, you have to be a doctor or engineer, and you know what I mean, especially in Pakistani Indian culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was solely for my own passion.
Yeah, and you were born here.
Yeah, I was born here.
Okay. So, let's talk first about your perspective about parenting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that your parents are not around you and you can say whatever you want to.
No.
And then they will hear on air, my God, she said that. Okay. So, how would you rate your parents? I mean, I know you... Okay, go ahead.
Honestly, I would say 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, wow, that's a high rating.
Yeah.
High rating.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, alhamdulillah, to have very open-minded parents.
Okay, which means, like, how? Give me an example of open-mindedness.
Like, they didn't raise my brother and I to be very narrow-minded thinking, like letting us think open-minded in the sense of, taking in different cultures, being able to empathize with different people around the world, learning how to just learn in different environments and dealing with different people in general. And I feel like the benefit of living in the U.S. especially is there's so much diversity. And so I think our parents always encourage me and my brother to keep learning from everything that we can, through any social interaction or through any education, whatever it is, just to learn and expand your understanding about people. So I think in that sense is very open-minded, and even ideologies and stuff like that as well.
Okay, I will bring some more tougher questions. This was very, comfortable for you to answer.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Bring them on, Auntie. Bring them on.
Okay, first tell me, how was your childhood? Like, now you're older, mashallah, God bless you. You are in your 20s. You have done your master's. You're working. You're independent. What do you remember from your younger age, in elementary, middle school? What kind of any memories that are good or bad?
Throughout, I always remembered my parents being much involved in our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, always engaging, always wanting to know what's going on. Not in, like, a Snoopy way, but more, like, as a friend. And so, like, trying to, get to know what's going on, having clear, open communication. I think that was the biggest, like, blessing that I had, fortunately. I know a lot of people don't have that with their parents. But yeah, like, my parents allowed open communication without being judged or reprimanded for saying something. Or, I mean, obviously you can't, like, say something, bad to your parents. Obviously a parent will get upset. But it was more like, if something was bothering me or my brother about something and we didn't feel comfortable asking, our parents encouraged us to have open communication, like, in that sense. So I remember that was always...
Can you give any examples? Any examples? Do you remember anything?
I'm trying to think. Just, like, if we had, like, any questions about, like, something, like, say a friend is dealing with a scenario and you don't know how to deal with it. You go to different friends and you ask for advice. And sometimes friends aren't the best people to give advice. And so sometimes I'm able to consult with my mom, for example. How do you deal with this situation if a friend does something like that? That's something I remembered a lot during elementary school. Whenever, say, we had... even if there was, like, two friends fighting, like, how do you deal with it? Like, how do you, like, resolve that issue or something like that? And it wasn't, like... And I think the reason why we're allowed to have this open communication was because it wasn't like my mom talked about my situations with other people. So there was that mutual trust also. That I knew that if I asked my mom for advice for something, I knew that she wouldn't go tell other people about it. And so I think that's where the open communication was really firm.
Okay.
In that regard. I mean, like, now I'm older and stuff, so I don't always have to...
I lost you for a few seconds, so say it again. So that is the open communication that you're talking about.
Yeah, by having trust. And, I mean, like, obviously now I'm much older, and so I don't have to ask for, those kind of advice also, but I still am able to ask my parents.
How was your high school time? That is, like, prom and all that. Did you want to go to prom, and did they allow you, or they did allow your brother to go and not you? Because I'm going to ask you that. The background is Asian, Pakistani, Indian.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So
high school, middle school is, I'm going to be completely honest, it was a very hard time, in sense I was actually bullied around that time period. So I didn't really like my high school that much. So I didn't really go to those social gatherings. So for me, it was different. Like, but my parents allowed it. Like, they were like, oh, you can go as long as you're with a group of friends, you're not going alone, whatever. But me and my friends, instead of going to prom, we went out to, like, hang out in the mall, watch movie, like, do other fun stuff. So, like...
and many people actually are doing that. My boys also did. One year they did that. It was most like a group of friends going together. Right. Yeah. It was not
it's more enjoyable, and you don't have to deal with unnecessary people. Yeah, but my brother went to prom. Alhamdulillah, I'm glad that he did not have the experience I did in high school, but he was allowed as long as he went with a group of guys and he wasn't alone and that kind of stuff.
So I do have questions on bullying about, like, being young, and, like, how can you advise or suggest that younger children can seek help, or what can parents do, and how should we be aware of about the bullying issue that you are talking about? Did you have any help? Did you get any help? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, I did. So I think the mistake I did is, I think every other kid does this too, is they keep quiet about it, and they don't want to tell people about it, and, like, bring, create drama from, for no reason also, in a way, but it's a shame that people feel like that. So it came to the point where I couldn't bear it anymore, and I had to tell my parents that, hey, this is going on. And again,
how long did you wait? Sorry, I'm cutting you. How long did you wait before you told your parents?
I would say, school year started in September, so around December.
Oh, that was soon. 2-3 months. Yeah. Well, depends on soon.
Well, it depends,
Yeah, soon is like 3 months is like 3 years for you.
Yeah, it really was. But But yeah, so again, my parents had this open communication, which allowed me to not be, I guess, scared about telling them about what's going on and that kind of stuff. And I feel like if other kids did not have that open communication, they may not be able to tell, or they don't know how to go about it.
What did they do, and what did you like? Was it the situation improved? What happened?
Yeah, so my parents got involved.
Okay.
Yeah, so my parents went straight to the school and said, "This is going on, and why hasn't anything been done?" Because there were teachers that observed it but didn't do anything about it, and I think a lot of teachers are bystanders when these things come out and come about, which is really unfortunate. And you should be able to consult with your teachers and be able to trust them in certain situations. But yeah, my parents made a huge issue at the school.
That's good.
Which I'm glad, and it should have been. So my parents got in touch with the principal. The kid actually ended up getting suspended.
Oh.
I wish he got expelled because he was known for targeting a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't just him; it was like a group of guys also.
Okay.
But the entire group got in trouble. I mean,
yeah.
My parents put their foot down.
So it means that one should raise the voice. First of all, open communication between children. Younger children or older should tell their parents. Parents must listen. Yeah. Receive the message and do something about it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of saying, "Oh, it's okay, don't go and deal with it."
Yeah.
Right?
And then the school should take it seriously, and so I'm glad that the school took the right actions about it. But yeah, it got better afterwards. Like, no one bothered me afterwards, thank God. But it was still awkward being at school.
Yeah. Did you learn any skills regarding that? Like, were there any how there is a support system, like to learn about how to deal with such things in school? Did your school have anything like that?
Kind of, but I don't think anyone took it seriously.
Okay.
I think that's what it was. Like
the learning or the bullying?
The learning.
Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of kids in my grade specifically. I mean, my grade was different from other grades, I think. We had a lot of, in my grade specifically, there was a lot of rotten, spoiled kids. We had, like, really rich families. So I don't know if that played a role in it. I don't know. But yeah, I think it comes to the end of the day of how parents raise their kids. Like, to like, not, like, bully someone or, like, treat people the way you want to be treated. Right. And I don't think...
How can we do that? How can we learn that? How can parents, do that?
I think parents need to be taught how to be parents.
Good.
I think that's what it has to be. Like,
good.
Like, I think parents need, like,
training?
Counseling before they become parents. Like, they need to know. And I think it's just a vicious cycle because, like, if parents are taught one way, then they're going to teach their kids the same way, just like they were taught by their parents. So it's like a vicious cycle of, like, violence.
Yep.
And so it's really unfortunate, but I mean, I don't regret the experience because I became a much stronger person, and now I know if something like that happens, then I'm not going to give nonsense about it. And just, you put your foot down and said this is not allowed in whatever setting it may be, whether it's in the school or work environment.
Yeah, it happens in the work environment when people are adults, so you should know. Well, the point is that if you're traumatized, then that can affect your whole life. So if you were saved and you learned something and you did go through the uncomfortable feelings and the experience, to some degree, it is okay a little bit, but not too much, because people really get issues after that, like traumatized for life.
And there's not just in our high school, but like in other high schools, you hear stories where kids commit suicide because of the bullying, and I think it's because they weren't given the support that they needed to come out of that situation.
So
unfortunate, and like even those school shootings that you hear nowadays, the other day in Florida, it's
which is
scary.
So sad, So I don't know what happened. We'll find that out. But I mean, young kids are going through a lot of pressure, and there should be somebody, whether at home or school, listening to them, what's going on, right?
I think teachers also need to play a role. If they see something, they should do something about it.
Yeah, That's right.
And I think teachers just wait for someone to come and complain about it or to voice it out, which I think that's unfair because like some kids may not know how to voice it in a way that's
true.
Appropriate.
Yeah, every personality, every child is different. That's true. Not everybody's vocal. Good. Thank you for all this insight that you gave. Very, very nice. So, do you feel, okay, from being here in America and at home, your parents are first generation, obviously, like they were immigrants, and all immigrant parents do bring their, baggages and packages of roots from where they're coming from and all. But from the gender point of view, you are being a female, a girl, versus your brother. You have one brother. How would you describe they manage the gender difference with you?
I think they did pretty well because my mom, traveled. She traveled around the world while growing up, so she didn't. She was accustomed to different cultures and different people and knowing that kind of stuff. And my dad came here when he was very, in his late 20s.
Okay.
Late teens is when he came here for his undergraduate studies and stuff. So he had a good amount of diversity exposure as well.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say my parents are very traditional or cultural compared to other parents in that regard. So I've been fortunate to see that there hasn't been a gender bias in my household. I think I get away with more than my brother. My brother, I'm being brutally honest. My brother gets more of the strictness. What part?
You just say that. So you were talking about you getting away more than your brother, or he has more strict rules sometimes, or still he's in college now.
Yeah, I know, but my mom is always on top of him, more so than me.
Okay.
I think, I don't know. I think my mom is like, oh, guys need to be more focused on nowadays, and I think it's true. To be completely honest, because a lot of
Najia, you have been such a sweet and wonderful person always. So you don't need any discipline, right?
I know, right?
Okay, good. All right, let's talk about what other activities. Okay, so first tell me about parenting, and then we'll end the parenting section.
Okay.
Well, if it comes up in any of our conversation, that's fine. Do you think that do you find some people that you see, oh my God, they shouldn't have been parents? I want to ask you that because you're younger and you're not a parent, and I bet you must have this oh God, feel bad for these children. Okay, so tell me something.
Sometimes I think, I feel like I've seen that with a few, one or two, not a whole lot. But I do think that not all parents can be parents. They do have the potential of being good parents. But I don't think every parent is a good parent, if that makes sense.
Yes. I want to connect this with what you said earlier, that I think parents should, before they become parents, they should be conscious of it, because that's what my point of this podcast is. One of these themes is be conscious. And did you think about becoming a parent? Like, you are not, so now you will be thinking about, okay, how should I train myself? What should I be ready for? I mean, it's a responsibility. It's just not like, you can have and do whatever, and you should be prepared, not to be overly, obsessive about it. Yeah, say something if you have.
I think it is important to know how to prepare, even when you're not married.
Yeah.
Because when you meet someone, you need to talk about what kind of parenting would you want to do.
Exactly.
You have kids.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to even think about it when you're not, when you're not in a relationship, so that when you are in one, then you know how to address these things before you finalize your marriage and everything like that. Because sometimes, people get married and they have very different parenting styles.
Exactly.
And that could crash, and
it makes a big difference. So I was thinking about that. So maybe you can join me in training the girls and boys before they become parents.
Sure.
Yeah. That's a project. That's a project for us now.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Do you think? Where did you learn to think? Do you think?
Yes, I do think. I think my mom more than my dad. I think just because, I mean, the way even my mom, how she taught religion and also just thinking, like she would come up with scenarios and ask, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of this scenario? Or even if it's something I'm learning in Sunday school and I ask a question and I say, how come this is not allowed? Or how come this is allowed? And then Ami is like, why do you think? And so like it forces me to like really dive into why something like haram or why something, at least something that is allowed and what is not allowed in a religion. So for example, drinking, right? Like I would ask, I mean, there was one scenario where I asked my mom, like, why isn't it not allowed, but like a lot of people do it and that kind of stuff. And so my mom was like, well, what are the, think of the pros and cons for it. So like I would write down the pros and cons and, you know, and I realized there's more cons than good. And so my mom was like, well, that's the reason, because the negative outweighs the positive in that regard. So yeah, like, I mean, my mom would question us for why we're asking something, so it forces us to think of a scenario.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Your mom should be tutoring.
I know, she should be doing the parenting.
Yes, exactly. No, that's good. That's good. That's a very, very important point that you have mentioned about like how she made you think. So it means she was your first teacher who made you think. Because do you think schools teach you to think?
No.
No?
I mean, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah, no,
I think more so in college and graduate school, but in elementary and high school, not really.
That's why I'm saying you have to be honest. Like, you should say it. I mean, yes, school was fine and everything went well, but what is it? How it is? I mean, that's the issue. That's why I have these questions, because I'm finding that when I was growing up and many other people, we weren't really not taught how to think. You know? Didn't have problem solving, guidance or, or problems that we could solve in that way. Like and the world's not only math problems, you should know how to communicate. And if you have, as you were mentioning, like why bullying is happening, because we don't know how to deal with each other. And all that. So,
and I think you brought up about communication. I think another thing that now you see, because of technology and stuff, a lot of parents give these devices very early on also. And I think it impairs proper social communication as well.
Okay, you believe so?
Not just the whole thinking aspect, but also how do you deal with people? Like now a lot of these kids know how to use a phone because they're given a phone at such an early age. Even when they're like toddlers, it's like, oh, here, play with this. That's like losing communication and social interaction. And I feel like plays a role in a child's development as well. And I think it somewhat impairs their understanding about the world around them and that kind of stuff. And that plays a role.
Wonderful. That's good that you are you have observed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of my pet peeves.
Okay.
It's like, why? Just talk to your kids. Like, don't do this. Because, I mean, me and my brother, we weren't growing up with these technologies. I mean, you weren't growing up with these technologies. And it's, like, sad, like, for a kid that age to be staring at something for entertainment, where they should be getting that from their parents or from a sibling or a relative or something like that.
So you do see the difference, like, if they don't do that versus what they do.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You really do.
Have you because I believe it's not like, oh, have you read any research by a doctor? I think that is fine, but then we have our research going on in our lives too, so we should trust that as well, instead of just trusting somebody somewhere doing research and publishing a paper out there. That has its authenticity, fine, but people who are paying attention, who are observing. You should maybe write something about it as a young person, that this is my observations. Start a blog about your observations.
Yeah. Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, seriously. Like, write about it because it's coming from your experience,
Yeah.
And you are researching. This is your research.
Yeah, that's true. There was a Huffington Post the other day I read on Facebook where they did a longitudinal study and they showed that kids who had like tablets and like that kind of stuff at like a toddler age, when they got a little bit older, it impaired their social interaction skills.
Yeah.
So it like dramatically decreased, which makes sense.
I just read that too, and I think I heard on the TV also. I think on not TV. I hardly watch TV. Sorry, NPR. I think I heard on NPR. So yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's get to some more. Are you involved in interfaith in any form or shape?
Yeah, I joined the Sisterhood of Shalom.
Oh, you did?
So I do join those.
Oh, okay.
So it's fun. It's like you learn about different religion and not just, there was a few events that involve Christians also, which is also nice. So it's good. I think it's important to do it because then it resolves a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding between people of different religion and different culture, and it kind of brings a more unity amongst different groups, and I think that's important, especially nowadays.
Yeah. So what do you like about your faith?
I like how it helps you get through every day. It helps you improve and be a better person.
So you like about your faith is that it gets you through the day, right? That's what you said?
Yeah, and it also helps you improve and be a better person every day.
How can you give an example? How does that work out for you? Like
how you deal with your ego and your emotions, and how you deal with people. How you're supposed to be open-minded, how you're supposed to be understanding of people, how you're supposed to be patient, controlling your anger, not lying, like all those aspects.
So these are like you have to be conscious of this when your whole day when you're spending, or is there a reminder that you put on, or like how does it work for you?
I just do consciousness. I mean, everyone is human and they slip up once in a while, but yeah, it's a conscious effort. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for staying with me through this exciting episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode of Light Up with Shua.